Hello everyone, and welcome to our presentation on the role of attributions in customer satisfaction. I think you know that the satisfaction is a very important topic because we're coming again and again on it. And if you see what Michael Leboeuf said, a satisfied customer is the best business strategy of all, you understand that it is true. We will present to you today an article done by Michael Tsiros and his team, which was published in 2004 in the Journal of Consumer Research. And I will also present my team before we start. Janley, Firdaus, and Ajmal will present the next section. So let's start first with the first part. What did the researchers know already? So the attribution theory is actually not very new. It started in 1958 to be studied, and the dimensions of attributions are already known, like responsibility, controllability, and stability. However, the results which were received or found by the researchers were pretty different from study to study. Attributions is defined actually as how people gather, combine, and use information to attribute a causal judgment or explain any event. So there is actually two types of attribution. If you find that the reason of an event is the person, his attitude, his character, then you say that it is an internal attribution. If you say that actually the situation is the reason behind the result and not the person himself, then you say it's an external attribution. Let's take an example. If you see the person on the left here having an A in an exam, and you think that actually it is because of his hard work, his character, that he got this A, then you say it's an internal attribution. If you say that because he got an A because his mother is a teacher, then you say it's an external attribution, not because of his own character. So now we will talk about the framework briefly. So the framework explaining this attribution is the valence expectancy framework. The first part is the valence component, which is basically how do you feel about an event. Is it positive or negative? The disconfirmation and performance are pretty easy to explain. So when you say disconfirmation is positive, then the person is satisfied. Basically, the satisfaction about or the feeling about any experience exceeds what the person expected. So let's say you're going to a French restaurant and you never ate any French food. You arrive there, they give you some food, and whatever they give you, you find very good because you did not have a high expectation. In this case, you will experience a positive disconfirmation. Let's say that the person is a French person which have eaten French food all his life, and then arrives there and tries the food and find this disgusting. In this case, he may have a negative disconfirmation just because he is used to a very good quality. The case of confirmation or performance is when a person has actually the same level of expectation and feeling about this experience. He is more looking to his girlfriend than the food he's eating actually, and he does not even know if he was expecting better or not. For the next part, let's talk about the expectancy component. So basically, it judges the likelihood of an event of reoccurring, and it contains two different variables. First, the stability. So will this component stay for a long time? Does it come again? And number two, the responsibility. So in the responsibility, you think about who caused the failure, who is the responsible of the problem. This is one point. But you also usually look at, did this person control the outcome of what happened? Let's take a small example. You lose internet and you think, is the service provider responsible or not? Let's say that you lose internet in the middle of a storm. In this case, you will think that the service provider does not have control on the weather and therefore may not be responsible of having the internet cut. In this case, then you will think that because the controllability is not high by the service provider, you may excuse him of losing internet. I will give up to Firdaus to explain to you more in detail the components of the expectancy framework.
Okay guys, now we move on into the next part, which is the balanced expectancy framework. Before this study was conducted, the key unexplored question before this study or the problem statement is first, the conceptual model combining this attribution with these confirmations. The attribution is the stability and also the responsibility. Second, how those attributions interact with each other. And third, the role of these confirmations, responsibility, and also the stability. Okay, the purpose of this research is first, this confirmation and also responsibility will combine to affect the satisfactions. Stability will become, or stability attribution is not the main effect of satisfaction, but it is only the moderator. The hypothesis of this research, the stability moderates the effect of responsibility on the disconfirmation satisfaction relationships. Okay, when you look at the diagram, we can see that the stability will become the multiplicative effect to the responsibility. Responsibility will become stronger when there is a stable cause, and responsibility will become weaker when there is unstable cause. This is where the positive or negative disconfirmations take place. When there is a positive disconfirmation, the satisfaction will become higher, and when there is a negative disconfirmation, the satisfaction will become decrease.
So now let's move into the methodology and results. The study design is actually based on a 2 times 2 times 2, which is disconfirmation, positive versus negative, stability of cost, stable versus unstable, and lastly on responsibility, whether it's company related or company unrelated. So in this study design, we can see that the researchers are using 202 executives with the average years of 29.3 years old. They are the MBA students from Midwestern universities, and they actually have more than 6 years of work experience. And in terms of their working experience, half of them actually have purchasing decisions, and one third actually evaluated a partner firm performance. In this study itself, the students were given a role-play scenario. They were asked to assume the role of vice president of an electronic equipment manufacturer company. In their role, they were asked to actually evaluate the distributor. And based on the students' experience and current economic status, they predicted the sales figure to remain the same at 0% increment next year. So the scenario moved forward. 1 year has passed, the sales increased 10% and performed better. So the students were asked to elaborate more on the cause of stability and responsibility. Moving forward, in the result itself, there is a significant three-way interaction among disconfirmation, responsibility, and stability. The valency expectancy framework has an adjusted R-square of 63%, and therefore, Model C is actually the preferred model among all.
As for the discussion, these studies conduct a survey that consisted of 109 business managers and 250 undergrad students, where for business managers, they evaluated an actual business partner, and for undergrads, they evaluated the recent purchase that they had made. So, what they found from the survey was both represent and identical patterns, which is same as what they claims, that is, disconfirmation and attributions impact satisfaction in a complex manner, which is, as you can see from the framework, there is a three-way interactions has occurred. But not to forget, for the survey for business manager, they use a performance measure instead of disconfirmation. This is because performance also has an independent effect on satisfactions. So, what they want to highlight here is this framework will guide the future researchers as a basis of understanding of disconfirmation and attributions can give impact to satisfaction. Several suggestions has made for future studies, which is first, The future studies can determine if an attribution dimensions affect the valence part or expectancy part. Or number 2, the future studies can classify how different attributions dimensions map onto the valence expectancy framework. Or number 3, the future studies can examine the applicability of valence expectancy framework in area of post-purchase. Or last but not least, the future studies can include instrumentality on the framework.
So Nilofa tried to present the hijab, which are the products you can see over here, scarves for women. It's a religious Muslim clothing, and she presented these products in a nightclub, which name is Zouk, and you can see some pictures of what happened over there. So there was some music, girls going wild, and there was a lot of stories about this. Is it okay to present the hijab in such a situation? Then Nilofa answered to all these comments, especially on social media, by saying, I made the decision to ignore public criticism regarding any issue. What is important, I know what is being done. She added, this will never end if I continue to respond to netizens' anger. So this year, I choose not to take seriously what others say. So basically after this, the responsible, or let's say the customers, will have a certain reaction. Based on what we explained before on attribution, how do you think the customers will react? Do they have a positive or a negative discrimination? And then what is the framework attributes? So is the situation stable? Who is responsible, and what is the kind of disconfirmation? So we will let you know after the answers. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation. Try to do this quiz now. Try to determine what are the different variables: stability, responsibility, disconfirmation, and finally, what is the satisfaction? Is it a positive or a negative one? And we will come now to the results of this exercise. Okay, so for the results, we will explain now our point of view on this. So we think that the situation is actually stable, because what Nilofa said is that she decided to do this knowing the consequences, and she will not really care about what other people think. So the stability is high, and by this being that way, the effect of responsibility is higher. So Nilofa is taken responsible for her acts, and this will act also on this confirmation, which will be a negative one. So people will not be very happy and will think that she is responsible. As a second effect, the responsibility of Nilofa is also clear, because she assumes what she did. She said that she took this decision, so the controllability is high. She controlled, she decided to go to Zouk, and for this way she takes the full responsibility as a direct attribute to dissatisfaction. So at the end, you will have unsatisfied people because of all this framework. Let's try to see what happened later. After a few days, Nilofa sends an apology to say her company will put greater attention in the future to make sure they protect the image of hijab. So actually this happened after she got a message from the Mufti of Kuala Lumpur saying that the image of the hijab should always be protected, and also asking the customers not to tell bad things to Nilofa. It's not a Muslim behavior. So she said that she accepts with humility and open heart the counseling of the Mufti. So you can see clearly that she went back, because this negative disconfirmation may have some consequences on her image. And even in a separate statement, the sister of Nilofashat, that would prioritize religious and cultural concerns in the future. Thank you very much for listening to our presentation, and we hope you will like it. And thank you.